Well, here we are in Barcelona. It's the capital of that region of Spain called Catalonia. It's the city of Gaudí, tree-lined avenues, super yachts, and during our visit, it's the host city for the America's Cup. A column in honour of Christopher Columbus marks a boundary between the harbour precinct and La Rambla. La Rambla is a pedestrian-friendly avenue in the heart of the city. There's a real vibrancy all about you as you stroll along. It's quite the experience to be surrounded by the animated sounds of languages and accents not your own. We pull up a stool at this tapas bar to drink our first sangria, and then we order savoury dishes of tapas. If you want to have a view of Barcelona from an elevated position, visit Montjuic. You may have memories of the Barcelona Olympics and will recognise that this scenery formed the backdrop for the diving competitions that were held here. One of Barcelona's favourite sons is Antoni Gaudí. This is Casa Vincennes. It was the summer home of the influential Vincennes family. Built between 1883 and 1885, Casa Vincennes was Gaudí's first major work to be finished. It still offers a stunning array of colours, thanks to ceramic tiling and coloured glass windows, as well as intricate woodwork and carving. Tonight we dine at Can Travino, which serves traditional Catalonian cuisine. One of the night's highlights was learning how to drink from a traditional glass wine pitcher. It does require some skill to make sure the wine doesn't end up on your clothing. Tomorrow we will take the fast train to Madrid and stay 2 nights. Then our itinerary will take us to Toledo and thence to the region of Andalusia and stay at Cordoba for 2 nights. Then it's 2 nights in Granada and another 2 nights in Seville. From Seville, we cross the border into Portugal and stay at a coastal region called the Algarve. Then it's north to Lisbon, Coimbra and Porto. From Porto, we will take a river cruise to the Spanish border and then travel to Salamanca. From Salamanca, it's back to Madrid, Barcelona and a seaside town in the Costa Brava called Tossa de Mar. A high-speed train from Barcelona to Madrid takes about 2 hours and 29 minutes to complete the journey, roughly 503 kilometres. Madrid is the city of plazas, wide boulevards, museums, a royal palace, an opera house and a football stadium. The Prado Museum ranks as one of the world's finest art galleries. Here you can encounter the Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch, Las Maninas by Diego Velázquez, The Annunciation by El Greco. Francisco Goya's The 3rd of May evokes the horrors of war as Spanish patriots are executed by Napoleon's troops. The central figure has his arms stretched out, echoing the suffering of Jesus on the cross. Picasso incorporates this image in his own depiction of war. Guernica is on display at the Museo Reina Sofia in Madrid. Guernica has since become a universal and powerful symbol warning humanity against the suffering and devastation of war. Sadly, our nightly news cycle to this day is filled with the same carnage and terror that Guernica warns against. When will we ever learn? Our hotel in Madrid looks out over Plaza de España. Within walking distance of this plaza is the Royal Palace of Madrid. Spain is a constitutional monarchy and so has a royal family. The Royal Palace in Madrid is the largest in Europe with over 3,000 rooms. Of course, regal elegance and opulence abound. At its greatest extent, in the late 1700s and early 1800s, the Spanish Empire covered over 13 million square kilometers, making it one of the largest empires in history. 100 kilometers south of Madrid is the former capital city of Spain, Toledo. Perched on an elevated situation to repel invaders and surrounded by the Tagus River for further protection, it's quite the fortress city, or Alcazar in Arabic. The charm of this city is its narrow, medieval streets. It's a great walking city. As you wander aimlessly, you never know what's around the next corner. Of course, Spain has a rich history of diverse cultures that once flourished within the Iberian Peninsula. Toledo is an ancient city where Jews, Muslims, and Christians once lived together, side by side, in relative peace. And let's not forget Toledo's fame for producing the finest Toledo steel. As we journey south from Toledo, we encounter a captivating Spanish pueblo, or small town. This area of La Mancha is famous for being the setting in which erstwhile knight-errant Don Quixote tilted at windmills and swore fidelity to the Lady Dulcinea. England has its Shakespeare. Spain has Miguel Cervantes as its literary hero. Cordoba, another ancient city reflecting thousands of years of occupation by different cultural groups: Roman, Visigoth, Islamic, Jewish, and Christian. The height of Moorish culture was achieved here at Cordoba, a true golden age of learning, science, and architectural splendor. Wandering the narrow streets, we discover monuments and cool, exotic gardens reflecting the Moorish influence. We find statues of Muslims and Jews who contributed to society in areas as far afield as ophthalmology and poetry. As you wander, you'll eventually come to this rather blank, imposing fortress-like edifice, and you might wonder if there could be anything of beauty behind such a nondescript wall. Well, if you enter through the wall, you'll encounter astonishing beauty. This is Cordoba's Mezquita, a mosque that has been converted into a Catholic church. One wanders through a seemingly never-ending forest of columns and arches until you reach the Catholic cathedral at its centre. What a place! One monument that has embraced two faiths. Worthy of note is our accommodation here in Cordoba. Palazzo del Bailio. This palace has been converted into hotel accommodation. As with all notable dwellings in Cordoba, it has an internal patio which provides shelter from the harsh rays of the summer sun. A garden with a fountain is typical of Moorish culture. This hotel also features a dining room complete with Roman ruins below your very feet. On a road trip from Cordoba to Granada, one cannot help but be astonished by the number of olive trees that cover the countryside from one horizon to the other. It has been estimated that 300 million olive trees dot the landscape of Spain, making Spain the world's leading producer of olive oil. This is Furman. He cultivates olive trees. He shows us what he calls the granddaddy of all his trees. This tree is 1,300 years old. We continue to Granada. The wow factor of Granada is this fortified palace called the Alhambra. A Moorish citadel, the Alhambra impresses with its beautiful gardens and stunning architecture. Religious Islamic art is typically characterized by the absence of figures and extensive use of calligraphic, geometric, and abstract floral patterns. Internal gardens and pools evoke heavenly peace. Tonight, gypsy music and dance. How does one describe flamenco? Well, it is passionate, driven, tempestuous, fiery, rhythmic, intense. We are making our way to a lookout called Mirador de San Nicolas that looks out towards the Alhambra Palace. It's a tricky drive, but we arrive safely. Granada was the last stronghold of Islamic culture before the Christian reconquest of Spain. Islam had come to the Iberian Peninsula in the year 711. It flourished for roughly 800 years. Finally, in 1492, the Catholic power couple Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand of Aragon expelled both Muslims and Jews from Spain, and then financed Christopher Columbus in his undertaking to find a short route to India. Instead, he found the New World of the Americas and changed the course of history. We are making our way down the narrow streets to the Cathedral of Granada. It's in the precincts of the cathedral that you will find the last resting place of Ferdinand and Isabella, the first king and the first queen of a united Spain. They were called the Catholic monarchs because they strongly supported the Roman Catholic Church. So it's no surprise to us to find that our accommodation tonight was a former convent. We are driving through these craggy mountains towards Ronda, one of the oldest cities in Spain. We walk to the end of this park, Alameda del Tajo, and discover that Ronda sits on the edge of this dramatic precipice. Nearby is the oldest bull ring in Spain. We enter the ring and discover that there is a museum here that shows the cultural history of bulls and bullfighting. It gives one an understanding of how important bullfighting and horses are to the Spanish culture. Then we explore the city itself and discover, to our amazement, that a spectacular gorge cuts through Ronda, dividing it into two halves. In days gone by, before any bridges were built, one had to descend 120 metres and then stagger up the other side. The oldest bridge was built by the Arabs in the late 14th century, then a second bridge was built in the 16th century. Finally, this newer bridge was built in 1793, and it's quite the sight. I'll leave you now with this final image of Ronda, and I hope that you can join me in part 2 of this series on Spain and Portugal.